Apa kabar pemirsa? Ketemu lagi sama saya Budi Satria di acara Bali Profile. Ini program yang menginspirasi dan memotivasi pemirsa tentunya. Kali ini we gonna interviewing with someone from UK. Ini bule yang concern dengan kehidupan anak-anak di Bali yang tidak bersepatu. Jadi bule ini namanya adalah Robert Epstein. Robert Epstein ini adalah seseorang aktivis dari Soulman yang concern terhadap perkembangan anak-anak di Bali, tentunya anak-anak yang tidak memiliki sepatu untuk beraktivitas. Seperti apa interviewnya sama Robert, seperti apa chit-chatnya? Kayaknya orangnya menarik sih. Kita bakal ngobrol-ngobrol setelah ini. Saya akan ke kediaman Robert. Ini ada di Villa Mistik. Kita masuk ke dalam. Pemirsa, seperti yang saya bilang dari awal, di Bali Profile kali ini kita ketemu dengan salah satu aktivis dari Bali Soulman yang concern dengan kelangsungan anak-anak. Dan saya sudah ada di kediaman Bapak Robert Epstein, Bapak Robert Epstein. Dan sekarang kita langsung saja ngobrol dengan Bapak Robert Epstein. Halo, good afternoon Bapak Robert Epstein.
Hi Budi,
Robert
how are you?
Epstein.
Correct.
Correct.
Budi, B.
Budi. You can call me B or Budi. That's okay. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Robert Epstein, you are living in Bali. How long? How long have you been staying here?
Nearly 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
So what makes you interesting? You're living in Bali. You're concerned with the Soulman. What make you decided and interesting to doing your activity?
To do the Soulman. Well, I was living in Shanghai for 10 years.
Shanghai in 10 years.
Super busy.
Ooh.
And decided at the age of 60 I would retire and come and live in Bali.
Why?
Because Bali is so wonderful. Shelley, my wife, and I had been to Bali some 6 years before, and we decided that this is the place, this is the one place in the world that I would like to retire to
But
when I finish working.
you make some Bali being the one of the world you can spend the rest of your life.
Yes,
Oh yeah, you
correct.
retired in Bali.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, just before I came to Bali, a very good friend of mine called my son in London,
Okay.
and he said, whatever you do, tell your father not to go to Bali.
Why?
This is the question I wanted to know. So I called him up and I said, why did you tell my son to tell me not to go to Bali? He said, well, I've known you for many years. You've always been incredibly hardworking, like 24/7 working. And it's a statistic, proven fact, that people like you who work so hard most of their life suddenly stop. They die.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm worried about you.
The Bali is it's all about holiday in Bali.
So what?
Every day is holiday.
Well, I decided, I thought after I finished working, what am I going to do in Bali? And actually I was a little bit worried about my friend's comment. And so I decided that the first thing I would do would be to join the Rotary Club to meet people, because we didn't know anybody in Bali. And luckily for me, they offered me a project. They said, can you do a project for us? I said, sure.
So you just that.
So I said, what's the project? And they said, we'll explain later. And the project was building 20 sumo water wells in Sumba, in East Sumba, in Tanarara village, Lewa district. And I did that for 15 months, very busy, backwards and forwards and forwards and backwards doing
Backward
this.
and forward.
And eventually gave water to 2,000 people, and also put fruit and vegetable gardens next to the wells, so it was very, very gratifying, and it also kept me very busy.
You were very busy.
So that was great.
Okay.
And after the finish of that project, I thought, what am I going do now. And
Do it.
I was in Shanghai for a holiday.
Oh, you're going to Shanghai.
Yeah, and I met a friend of mine who was actually a filmmaker, a British filmmaker,
Filmmaker.
called Arthur Jones, and he was not wearing shoes. So I said, what's the idea? He said, well, I've taken my shoes off for 1 year to raise money for underprivileged children in China. So I guess your original question was who inspired me. I think probably my father inspired me by doing these charity works, and now my daughter. So I said, what's the idea? He said, well, I've taken my shoes off for 1 year to raise money for underprivileged children in China. So I came back and I was talking to a friend of mine, Beat de Schmidt-Gruneck, who's another soul man now, and I said, you know, this is very inspirational. I love the idea what Arthur is doing. I think I would like to do something similar. If we try to raise money, where is the biggest need? In Bali, in Indonesia, what can we do? Why would we do this? And we talked about many things and came up with the idea to raise money for homeless children.
So you bring the idea?
I brought the idea back to here. So he's the original soul man, and then I'm the soul man in China.
So you're not considering the soul man?
What I would like to do is breed soul men all over the world in different countries doing what I'm doing here.
So besides Shanghai, Bali, there is another country.
Well, thinking about walking in Australia this year. But what we did in Bali last June was walking around Bali barefoot, 535 kilometers. But at the same time, not just walking around Bali, we were giving health presentations.
What makes you interesting with the children with the shoes? Why?
Well, that was what I learned was the greatest need for poor children. And wide no shoes, it's really a statement of being in solidarity with the poor people who can't afford shoes. I can afford shoes, but they can't. So this is to be in solidarity and create awareness. Other people around the world think, Indonesia, how wonderful, 16,000 islands, everybody were very happy. They don't know that there's a big problem. And there is a poverty problem. And this is a statement to create awareness, really, more than anything else.
Okay. This is about the soul man, just for children.
Yes.
Children is about. And you understand that road from Shanghai to Bali.
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yes, isn't it?
Yes, fresh. I'm interested about your family.
Yes. I've got 2 children, a daughter who's 30 and a son who's 28.
Son is 28.
My daughter runs a charity in England for teenage cancer awareness and research and raises money mainly through music concerts and fashion events. And my son is the leader of his own rock band.
That's your family.
Mishkin,
You
yes.
brought a family to Bali.
No, they're in England. My son's working on tour a lot of the time, and my daughter's got a successful charity in
So you
England.
spend the rest of your day in Bali with your
My wife,
wife.
Shirley, yes.
That's your way to support your activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yes, and we travel a little bit.
What in her thing when you decide, okay, we're going to Bali, we spend the rest of your life in Bali. So she support that. She support your desire to live in Bali.
Family?
No, your wife.
Oh, yes. Oh, marvellous. She was the one that asked me, can we go and live in Bali?
Okay.
When you retire, can we go there? Because, you know, Shanghai is a great city, but it's very heavily polluted, and it's not the healthiest place to live.
Okay. I want to know about your charity, or your child life.
Yes.
Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? But in my childhood, who inspired me?
So, what's your position before that?
My background, my family had a clothing manufacturing business, in England, and later on I started to manufacture clothing in China for the English market. I was also the executive band manager for Mickey Finn's T-Rex, which was a very famous band in the 80s in England. So we used to go on tours, and that was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I lived in San Francisco during the 70s, during the hippie period, and I've always been involved from my father. I guess my father really inspired me, because he was deeply involved in charity work for kids in England. I drove a truck with aid down to the war zone in Yugoslavia, narrowly avoided being killed by the insurgents coming over the border a few hours before I left. I was involved in making a documentary film in Peru about the Luminoso, the terrorist organization, and the deforestation issues. And we were attacked by the terrorists, and I ended up in hospital in Cusco, then Florida, and then walked on crutches in England for 9 months as a result of that attack. A few people were killed. I was very lucky. So that was doing good for something. And you know, when you do good for something, sometimes there's a bit of a reaction. You have to be a... So I guess your original question was who inspired me. I think probably my father inspired me by doing these charity works. And now my daughter runs full-time a charity of her own, so it's kind of ongoing.
So of course, who inspires you? Maybe it's the children.
Yes, my children. I adore my children. And I love what they're doing.
They love you and support you.
Yes, very much.
But how big the family meaning to your life? So your support, your family.
Oh, it's incredibly important. They say behind every great man there's a great woman.
Yeah.
And I have Shelley behind me, so I'm very lucky. She's constant source of inspiration and
What's
help.
your wife's name?
Shelley. Yeah, she is often coming up with great ideas. Wonderful partnership. Yes.
How are you happy now?
How old am I now? Isn't it? How old?
Are you happy now?
Oh, am I happy now? Yes, very happy.
But your conscience with your soul, man. Your desire to taking care about your children. Doesn't have issues. Are you happy?
Very happy. I'm very happy. I'm also a Soka Gakkai Buddhist, and I chant in the mornings and in the evenings, do my chanting. And recently I've been chanting 3 hours per day. Yeah, I chant for 3 hours in the morning, and I get tremendous energy and tranquility.
Big kind of balance in your life.
And seem to get wisdom to make the right decisions. It seems to be working. I've been doing this for 30 years.
3 hours in the morning, that makes you...
Yeah, from 6 o'clock till 9. Now, I haven't been doing that for 30 years, but I've been doing it for a couple of months. I find it very powerful. I think it's important to have a faith. I think the thing to do is, if you have an idea, just do it. Commit to it.
Commit to it.
Because once you've committed...
I love your house. It's such a nice house.
Thank you.
Where the part of the most favorite place in your house?
I guess we spend most of the time on the terrace. Shall I show you around?
Okay. In terrace.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, this is fabulous. I want to know about your activity. Your daily activity from the morning, and spends your time in your house.
Okay. So in the mornings I often take the 2 dogs to...
You have 2 dogs?
Yeah, we take them along the beach, often for an hour or even more. Sometimes walking to Echo Beach.
Echo Beach?
Yeah.
So you
come back.
Hey, this is your dog?